Citroen has been showing signs of getting back to its slightly quirky best of late, and the second generation C5 has proved to be another step on that upward curve. The Mondeo-sized medium-range family sector it competes in offers tough challenges, but this car is equipped to meet them far more effectively than the one it replaced. Sharp looks and German standards of build quality at last complement high technology and a silky ride. Though it's had its moments with Xantia and BX models, Citroen's always made rather heavy weather of selling family-sized medium-range cars. Now, it was a trend that continued with the launch of the first generation Citroen C5 in 2001, a car hampered by soggy handling, bland looks and quite high depreciation. Mind you, it did have its plus points, a strong range of diesel engines and the Hydractive 3 self-leveling suspension system. And it's clear that these needed to be part of the huge step the second generation C5 would have to make if Citroen's overall sales aspirations were not to be limited simply to selling small cars. Looking at the car, it's difficult to see how the French designers could have completed their brief much more effectively. Virtually all the outstanding issues have been addressed, and there's a far more palatable form of the styling flair we first saw on the Mark C6 executive saloon. Put simply, if this C5 doesn't propel Citroen into contention in this sector, then they might as well give up. Now, this still isn't the sharpest steer in the sector. Think Peugeot 407 rather than Ford Mondeo, but at least it's now there or thereabouts, and it's much better suited than many of its rivals to the type of motoring that these cars actually do. Now, that's thanks, rather unusually, to a choice of suspension setups, and it's a choice that's really important for buyers to get right. Now, the first option is a double wishbone front suspension and multi-link rear arrangement. It's a fairly conventional one, but that won't deliver you the proper Citroen driving experience. Much better to go for the Hydractive 3 Plus self-leveling suspension, and that adjusts to the road surface to deliver you that famous Citroen magic carpet ride. Now, this offers a choice of 3 suspension settings that get progressively firmer to deliver either a sporty driving experience or a more comfortable one as required. Now, surprises under the bonnet, well, they're in short supply, with the majority of units carried over from the first generation C5. The one exception being the 2.7 litre V6 HDI diesel that debuted to considerable acclaim in Citroen's C6 executive saloon. Petrol engines, well, there's a choice of 127 brake horsepower 1.8 or 143 brake horsepower 2 litre. But let's be honest, the majority of sales will be diesels, and Citroen are offering 3 of 1.6, 2 litres and 2.2 litres in capacity, as well as the V6 range topper. And those engines develop either 110, 138 or 173 brake horsepower, with the V6 putting out 208 brake horsepower. This C5 is a larger car than the model it replaced, and one of the biggest in its class. The saloon version, well, it's fractionally longer than its Ford Mondeo equivalent and almost as wide, while the Tour Estate weighs in with an extra 5 centimetres of length. Citroen has paid particular attention to soundproofing in the cabin, fitting laminated side windows and an acoustic windscreen to supplement the absorbent body and the roof linings that were developed for the executive C6. The interior sets out to mirror the high quality feel of the C6, and although the centre console looks slightly overloaded with buttons, the clean lines of the fascia and this chrome detailing really creates an upmarket effect. Now, Citroen's well known for including high levels of gadgetry within its vehicles, and the fixed hub steering wheel with its extra buttons is a really clever touch. It enables the driver to access all the main functions without diverting his eyes from the road. Space in the rear for backseat passengers is really helped by the flat floor. Go for the Tour Estate, as I've done here, and the 439 litres of boot space offered by the saloon rises to 505 litres in here with all the seats in place. With the back seat folded, the figure rises to 1500 litres. When placing heavy items in the back of the car, a button located in the rear raises or lowers the suspension. so that you've got the boot loading lip at a more convenient height. Automatically closing the rear tailgate returns the suspension to its correct setting. Styling was not a strong suit of the original C5, but this second generation car appears to have banished the frumpiness that scuppered its predecessor. At the front, you've got these huge headlamps joining the double chevron front grille to produce a distinctive front end, while at the side, these distinctive swage lines that run just below the level of the door handles are very BMW, and the sculpted wheel arches produce a dynamic stance. If anything, this Tourer estate version is an even better looking car than the saloon, with its sloping roofline and these rear light clusters that curve around the corners of the vehicle. Prices lie in the usual £15,000 to £25,000 bracket common to this class of car, with the expected £1,100 premium if you want the Tourer estate version. All versions are extremely well specified. You get cruise control with a speed limiter, you get air conditioning, external roof bars, an acoustic windscreen, the adaptive front lighting AFS system, while most versions get an automatic electric handbrake and hill start assist. For ease of parking and pedestrian safety, the Tourer estate model also has the option of front and rear parking sensors and a parking distance gap system to help you slot into your favourite space that bit more easily. The C5's rivals are many and talented. Ford's Mondeo is the obvious one to think about, but Volkswagen's Passat, Vauxhall's Insignia, Renault's Laguna and Peugeot's 407 are all in there scrapping it out. Now, this C5's job is made doubly difficult by the fact that these accomplished vehicles are all fighting for a slice of an ever-diminishing pie. The growth in popularity of compact 4x4 vehicles, like Citroen's own C-Crosser, compact MPVs, and premium hatchbacks, has hit sales of traditional medium-range models. That said, there are still rich pickings for whichever of the C5's contemporaries can most strike a chord with the buying public. Now, the diesel engines that most C5 buyers will choose all offer strong economy and low emissions. Let's take economy first. The petrols, well, they're all somewhere between 33 and 36 miles to the gallon on the combined cycle. The diesels, well, they're all between 43 and 50 miles to the gallon on the combined cycle. Emissions, the petrols lie anywhere between 188 and 198 grams per kilometre, while the diesels are between 149 and 225 grams per kilometre. All the diesels come with a particulate emissions filter that cuts particulate emissions to next to nothing, and it all goes towards making the C5 an environmentally friendly car to run, which should also make it an affordable car to run. Depreciation is a step forward from the first generation C5, which wasn't difficult, but still slightly behind some of this car's mainstream rivals as the market struggles to adjust to a largish Citroen with BMW standards of build quality. Insurance groupings, well, they're somewhere between 8 and 13 depending on your chosen model. Of all the market sectors you could buy from, standards in this one are the highest, which means that when I tell you that this C5 is good, you can take it that it's very good indeed. It's arguably the best looking car in its sector, it's certainly the best riding, and it's right up there in all other aspects, save that of on-the-limit handling. For all that, there'll be many who simply won't consider it just because it's a Citroen. Their loss. As far as I'm concerned, this second generation C5 has all the credentials to count as an informed choice in the medium range marketplace. It's a car that effectively handles all the basics, while remaining just that little bit different enough to stand out.